Well, KwaZulu-Natal is slowly recovering after the devastating floods in April and May. 461 people died and more than 80 are still reportedly missing. More than 85,000 residents were affected, with more than 8,000 homes destroyed. The damage is estimated at 25 billion rand. The province has requested almost 18 billion in aid from national government to help repair the flood damage.
It's been described as the worst flood disaster in living memory. The unprecedented heavy rainfall over several days led to flooding, mudslides and major structural damage. Record rainfall figures were recorded in many parts of the province. Experts warned that the province could see this kind of persistent, prolonged heavy showers more regularly.
So we need to be able to ensure that we build better community water facilities. We need to build better settlements that are not destroyed by floods. We need to build better and more resilient health systems so that health systems can provide the health services to people, because the floods are coming more regularly. 1987, 2007, 2017, 2019, and now 2022. The floods are here. Climate change is hitting us. We are living climate change.
Durban and surrounding areas were the worst affected. Many of the more than 6,000 people left homeless sought shelter in community halls, church premises and schools. In its latest update, the province said it's completed more than 200 temporary residential units, but it said the delays to the housing project was the shortage of suitable land. Bylaws were also identified as a major stumbling block. Families from Chongweni who were displaced were some of the first recipients of temporary housing. He says this house comes as a surprise, as he wasn't expecting it. He also says his children will be happy as they now have a home again. She says she appreciates this gift from government and that she's happy that she will have a shelter now. Government says it's made progress in restoring electricity and water to areas where supply was disrupted. Besides the 190 water tankers which have been deployed to areas in the city, close to 50 static tankers were set up in strategic points for self-collection. Boreholes have also been drilled in areas hardest hit. Construction has also started on the Tongaat water treatment works and is expected to be completed in September. Repairs to the main access road to the Durban port is also progressing well. Passenger rail services to Umlazi and KwaMashu are also set to resume in September, which will bring relief to thousands of commuters. Damage to transport infrastructure in the province was put at 6 billion rand. Major routes such as the R102 and the M4 towards the north coast suffered major damage. The province has approved more than 700 key projects through emergency procurement for the repair of potholes and for repairs to damaged roads. Renee Heine, SABC News, Durban.
And as you see there, the trail of devastation that was left in KwaZulu-Natal as a result of the floods. I mean, right now we've got the Premier with us just to give us a sense, because we remember when he gave the last briefing, the death toll stood at around 461, and he joins us now, Premier Sihle Zikalala, just to talk about this province. Where does he even begin when it comes to rebuilding? Because as much as some of the businesses are looking to do it their way, but there are also some very serious challenges that are facing people on the ground. Premier, thank you so much for your time this evening. I'll start with just your reflections. I mean, it's been one would say a crazy year, if I may. You've seen the unrest. At the same time, you were still trying to weather the storm of COVID-19, and then the floods hit. It must have been, quite a moment for you.
Indeed, it has been quite a challenging period. We remain strong because of the teachings of the likes of Mandela as we celebrate his month, that freedom is irreversible and we must not be fear of the future. Despite all of these calamities that you have mentioned, which include COVID-19, the unrest in July 2021, the floods in April and May, but we are comforted that we are standing here in Springfield, a site that was a scene for demolition, disruption, fire, everything that you can think of. But today, there is hope that some of those outlets that were here have built back and are now starting to operate.
And you know, we talk about the operation. I'll ask you a little later on what are the conversations you're having with those who don't want to come back. But let's stay with the floods a little bit. The last time you gave a briefing, the death toll stood at 461, and there were still some who are unaccounted for, some of the bodies and missing people as well. Is there any update, or does the number remain the same?
Well, right now the official figures stand at 461, as you have indicated. The search and rescue teams have done all they could do to try and recover other missing persons or bodies. Unfortunately, they are unable to recover others, and we still have a lot of missing people in the province. We send our messages of sympathies to their families as they still don't know what happened to their loved ones, and they cannot close that chapter, which is very unfortunate. But we want to commend the search and rescue teams, the personnel from KwaZulu-Natal, from SAPS, Disaster Management Center, and from those who came from other provinces that came to assist us. They tried their best. They've managed to save life and protected others. They managed to recover bodies, but sadly, there are those that are not yet recovered, and we are with their families.
And what are you going to do then, very briefly there? Are you now going to start a process, because you did say that you may be looking into getting some of them presumed dead? What happens? Where does that process stand?
Yes, we are going to discuss that, and at some point, in consultation with families, we will have to go through that process where we will declare those who have not been found as presumed dead. It is unfortunate that we will have to follow that route, but with the period it has taken, with effort that has been invested in trying to recover those who are missing, we have no option, but eventually we'll have to take that route.
You've taken quite a beating when it comes to the handling of, the crises that you've had to go through, when it comes to government as a province under your leadership. Let's talk and zoom in to specifically the people that are still inside halls who are saying that they want to be relocated to temporary structures like the other ones, but simply things are moving at a snail's pace.
Yes, that is because of the allocation of resources. That's number one. But in particular, the main problem is the availability of land. Remember, the people who are in halls want to stay in areas that are closer to where they were residing, so that they will be able to sustain themselves, sustain their livelihood, because they were there because of the purpose of being closer to work. So we have to get land. We cannot take people back to areas that are not safe, because most of them were affected because they were staying next to the rivers. So we're working hard to secure land. Where we have got land, we have started constructing temporary shelters, and we have moved families to those temporary shelters. We're doing all we can to expedite the process of securing land.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you not worried, though, that at the rate that things are moving, you may have desperate people who will then choose to go back and rebuild in some of these floodlines because they're saying that you're simply moving too slow, and use, for example, the disruption of the cabinet meeting where you were even prevented from leaving because people were upset, saying that they want to see movement?
I'm not sure whether you were there. Let's be factual. The people who came purporting to be coming from halls. Some of them were not coming from halls in particular. In fact, they never stage or hold us at hostage. I left freely. Assigned.
But there were some disruptions, and I mean, are you saying that the over 200 people that were there?
There were not more than 200.
But there was quite a group.
No,
are you
it was
saying
a small group that came. We then said to them, we sent a message.
Yes.
Kindly wait for us. We are in a meeting of the cabinet. We are going to finish and attend to you. Then after the meeting, as a Premier, I assigned 2 MECs, MEC Dube and MEC Sibia. They went to meet with their delegation.
Yes, outside.
No one was held at hostage. I left to attend to other meetings. I never met any of them. No one among them would say he stopped me somewhere. So I want us to be firstly factual in as far as the report. Secondly, people who are in temporal shelters, we visit them. Often we come to shelters to update them on what is happening. I can tell you, there are people who are in Tongat and Phoenix, Tongat and Lamesi halls. I led a delegation of government to meet with Tongat so that we secure land. We sent a briefing to those people that this is what Tongat is demanding. We have now agreed with Tongat. The department is signing with Tongat the transfer of land, and we will go through that transaction. We brief the people consistently. There are people who are staying in various shelters around Durban. Various MECs and councillors goes to brief them, and we are in touch with them. We know that there will be those who will come with narrow interest, wanting to position themselves for political gains, try to mobilize those communities against government. Most of them have not succeeded because we are in touch with those communities.
And I'm keen then to, stay with that, because it depends whose vantage point you're looking at it, for example, because when we saw them locking the gates, making sure the cars don't go outside. And we did see, of course, the delegation that you sent out, and they were talking to them, and they say that, they wanted to go in and talk about the allocation of funds. But at the same time, they continue to say that, some of them are not even able to get decent access to decent sanitation and all of that. But I want you to tell me, who do you say is behind this? Because you're saying that these people that were there are not staying in these designated halls.
Yeah.
Who are they?
Let me tell you one issue here. You take one hall, people will come and say, no, we are not getting food. We then take food to that hall. We only find that some take food only to sell it to others, which is wrong. And we don't want to point fingers to others, but we're asking for discipline, we're asking for cooperation, we're asking for maximum cooperation, especially with those affected communities. It remains a matter of fact also that when these floods started, just in the early weeks, you will see that there will be a number of people during the day in the halls, and later people will go back to their homes because they've got homes. They want to come here just to secure food and get other benefits. So those are things that we have to address. But we want to say we are grateful of the manner in which those who are affected are working with government. I've been in a number of community halls where people are staying. I've been to Truro, here outside eThekwini. I've been to a number of them. I've been working with the departments wherever they are affected to ensure that we intervene in all issues. Have you been to Quarry Road, where some of the people were telling our reporters that they've not even seen a ward councillor come in order to be able to assist them? Have you heard of something like that? Quarry Road is behind us. I was there when these floods happened. I went there myself. And we can work with those people. In areas where councillors are not attending and not doing their work, we should all attend to that, ensure that councillors attend to their work. But we as provincial government and the municipality, in most cases we've been there. We have also been pulling even councillors that are coming from other parties and say, let's go there. We are not just working with councillors from the ANC alone. We will find that a ward councillor is the DA. And I've been saying to them, no, let's go together. As I'm saying that I was in Truro Hall, I was going with Miss Kisson from the DA. and we are working as government, and we would want to send a strong message. Let us not politicize these issues. This is a natural disaster. It needs all of us working together and collectively.
And you can't run away from politics, though, because the province is going to a conference, and you are, of course, part of the ANC. You are the chair currently. Do you think the province's handling of, the post-unrest, the floods, COVID-19, and, the bubbling under frustrations may cost you and your position and see you not coming back as chair?
I would not want to debate the issue of coming back and not coming back. That is irrelevant, in fact, for me, because the way we have responded to these challenges, we have been there and responding on spot. If you deal with the COVID-19, there is no province that was updating communities like us. There was no province that was running campaigns. We will take the national campaigns, run them. We will start our own campaigns. When it comes to looting, we were there trying to ensure that police are all over, but also we were there trying to ensure that communities are addressed politely and things are addressed fairly. When it comes to the issue of floods, just a day after floods, we went all out to be with the people, to support them. So you cannot blame us that we have not responded. We have been in action with the people. These disasters have not been planned by us. Some are natural. We had to respond on spot, and we have never been found wanting. We have always been there.
Premier, let me thank you for your time. I know we took you out of a very busy and tight schedule. That is the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Sihle Zikalala. As we look back a year on after the unrest, of course, this is a province that is really trying to rebuild and pick itself up in order to really get more people back at work. And we'll have a conversation with business about their role in this one as well, because they also need to make sure that they are also up and running again. And we'll have the conversation after the break.